plus button on the bottom.
Okay. All right. We are live. All right. Hi, everybody.
A couple of seconds to get on.
Okay. Well, I like to talk
Yeah,
at the
no,
beginning
talk.
because then when people watch it later.
Absolutely.
Hi, everybody. We are doing a live today, and today's going to be a little bit different. We are Heart and Soul Bullies, but tonight we are doing a special. Every Thursday night, we're going to be doing this and partnering with our friend and dog trainer, Sarah Shulman.
Hello.
So, Shulman, hi and thank you, and we're really looking forward to this. Why don't you go ahead and introduce who you are, and we'll just get to start talking.
Cool. Sarah Shulman. I have been training dogs for almost 10 years, and I worked in the pet retail and dog daycare world before that. I'm the owner of Creekside Canine Training. We've been in business for about 7 years, and we just moved into our brand spanking new facility on Prospect, coming up on our 1-year anniversary there, which is mind-boggling to think about. And so I'm a certified canine trainer and behavior specialist. Basically all that means is I went to an accredited school where they, give you a title and give you that. Yeah, it means a lot. That's cool. But the main thing in dog training is, experience. So I've been doing it for about 10 years, and I apprenticed with somebody before that. So went to the school, Starmark Academy for Professional Dog Training. It's in this itty bitty little town, Hutto, in Central Texas. And I was there for about, I don't know, like almost a year. I was a student there, and then I was an intern. And it's just basically dog training boot camp. And, drilled and learned a lot, trained a lot of different dogs. The way that program works is we go to shelters in Austin, take dogs from the shelters, train them for us to learn, for the dogs to learn, and then we put them back in the shelters so they have a better chance of being adopted.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool to work with the dogs in the shelters like that.
It was really, really amazing to get to see these dogs. The Austin shelters are rough.
Yeah.
They are rough. So it was really great to be able to take dogs out of there and get to see, have the opportunity to help these dogs get adopted. Plus, it meant that I had my hands on different dogs like every week. It was, really cool to get to not just train my personal dog all the way through. I got to train her to be the demo dog for the company, but also to just train all these other dogs.
With a variety of issues.
Yeah, I got to train with a lot of different dogs. Came back here, waited tables for a year while I was figuring things out, and started Creekside and been plugging away since.
Yeah, and you're pretty. I mean, you've got a lot of customers right now, right?
Yeah, we're really busy right now. So the company, I was like a traveling dog trainer for a while. I did all like in homes, and I did work out of a canine camp building for a little while, like to do some lessons. But I was traveling, and then COVID happened, and I couldn't go into people's homes, and it was like, when would I even be able to, like, who knows when that would be able to happen again? And then it was kind of like, all right, well, I guess I'm doing everything out of the facility now. And I really just kind of stationed myself at the facility, and we kind of grew from there. And now we have our own facility, multiple trainers. Yeah. Kind of.
Okay, that's awesome. So what type of training do you actually do?
Sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, so what is your specific, and just to reiterate where you are, right? You are in Frederick, Maryland. So your training and your schooling was in Texas and Austin, right?
Went to Texas for school, stayed there for a little bit to intern, and then moved back. I thought about Colorado for a hot minute because it's awesome and I have family there. But I grew up in Frederick. I've been in Frederick for 37 years. I have a lot of roots in Frederick, from theater, just from family, and I wanted to come back here. And Frederick is incredibly dog friendly. It's like an amazingly but it really is an amazing place to be able to train dogs. Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah, we take ours downtown constantly.
Yeah.
To kind of take yourself as like a downtown dog trainer is
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, your name goes right along with the Carroll Creek,
Well, yeah.
you know, play and everything. And
Our old location before the building got sold, we were literally right on the creek. So like Creekside, it was like, cool, I'm right on the creek. And now it's like Creekside, hey, look, Sarah's walking on the creek somewhere, but she had to drive there.
yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, we still got to get together and do that Saturday walk. So,
As soon as I am no longer with a destroyed back, pack walks will right back. But until those ligaments heal up.
as soon as you mend up, yeah. All right, so back to dog training in general. There's so many dog trainers out there, and this is one of the reasons we decided to pair up with you, and you decided to pair up with us. We met at Bark in the Park. We immediately, I feel like we immediately had a connection and kind of like a mind, what would you say? Like we have the same kind of type of philosophy and feeling about dogs. We're dog people more than people. And I think we just had that connection. We have the same philosophy. So like Steven's saying, what is your Creekside Training, Sarah Schulman, methodology of...
So I'll have to be careful not to like, because I could talk about this for like eons.
Right.
So like you were saying, like, you know, when you get on the internet and you start Googling, you're going to just, I have clients that come to me and they're like, we're overwhelmed by what we read on the internet. You're going to see YouTube dog trainers. You're going to see every single methodology, every single thing out there. And there's amazing dog trainers in every single style. Every single style of dog training out there, you're going to run into amazing dog trainers. The problem, in my opinion, with dog training, though, is people try to lock themselves down into a specific title, lock themselves down into a specific label. And no pun intended, but when you get caught up in dogma, you end up closing a lot of doors to yourselves. So when people ask me what methodology do you use, I just tell people I'm a dog trainer. I don't know if you can you see the back of my shirt? Are you able to see my shirt by any chance?
Lower.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, okay. Oh, remember it's backwards, though.
Oh, fine. I don't know if we're for sure.
We're both teachers, but backwards is a little...
I read I am. I did read I am.
I think I saw what you're showing us on your website.
On our website, the very first page, oh, I'm purple for some reason. If you go on our website, the very first page on our website is going to have a list of things. It's going to say, I am.
Wait, real quick, what is your website? Just to put it out there for people who are watching.
Yeah, creeksidek9.com. Okay. Super easy. Creekside K9. It's the word K9. Creeksidek9.com. And so if you go on that, you're going to see a list of things, and in front of each of those things, you're going to see I am. And so what I tell people is I'm a dog trainer. And what that means is I have a toolbox. And inside my toolbox are dozens and dozens of techniques, dozens of tools, dozens of ideologies and methods that I have the ability to now reach into my toolbox and pull out. So in terms of like mentorship, I have been mentored by a bunch of different dog trainers who are complete opposites. They have very little in common with each other, except that they are advocates for dogs. And so if I'm learning the same thing from any of these people, it is that I advocate for the dog. But if you say, I am this, or I am this, you close so many doors to yourself as a dog trainer. So I try not to lock myself down. So in dog training, right, you have purely positive, you have balanced, and you have such a wide scale of all of that. So if a truly balanced dog trainer saw how I train, they might not agree with that. If a truly purely positive trainer saw how I train, they might not agree with that. But guess what? I'm using tons of food We use tons of food. I'm clicking. I'm saying yes. I'm a confidence builder. But at the same time, I'm also reaching into that toolbox and I'm saying, you know what, I need to utilize the no. I need to utilize correction. Maybe this training tool is right for that dog. But it doesn't matter because it's all in the toolbox. And whichever dog is standing in front of me and whichever owner is standing in front of me, because they're team, they both have to be on the same page. I can reach inside of that toolbox and I can say, for this particular individual, this particular dog, this is what I'm going to use. And if I lock myself into something, if I say this is the only way to do something, I'm not doing the service to the dogs.
So really quick, two things. I want to say for anybody who's watching, if you have questions, if something comes up, if one of us says something that you have questions for, type it in the chat. You can actually send questions or you can type it in the chat. So this is an open conversation for anybody who's interested. But one thing you just said is you focus on building confidence. Can you tell us what types of things do you do to help the dogs build confidence?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is confidence important for a dog?
Yeah. So, you know, again, it really also depends on the dog and what style, like what type of dog it is. Because like if a dog comes in and is lacking confidence with another human being, with people, we're going to approach that one way. If a dog comes in and is lacking confidence with other dogs, we're going to approach that one way. If a dog is terrified of bikes going by, we're going to approach that one way. But the overall concept of confidence is exactly like working with a human being. You have to change the perception of the experience. So if I have a dog who is uncomfortable in a certain environment, I have to teach that dog there's no fear there, like you're okay. But at the same time too, it might not be environmental. You might just have a dog who is insecure and lacking confidence. When that ends up being the case, it's really important that dog learns how to win. So I can go into a lot about a certain methodology of training that was created by this guy, Jay Jack. But the one thing I'll say about that is that in dog training, you have to have supportive work and you have to have competitive work. And for some dogs, competitive, like if I get in there and I'm like, all right, buddy, let's go. And I help challenge them and I give them challenges, they win and they learn to win from those challenges and that boosts their confidence. But some dogs are more passive. And if a dog is more passive, I have to come in there with support and with the supportive aspect. And with that, I'm going to be encouraging my dog to take the win as opposed to challenging my dog to take the win.
Yeah, that's definitely two different types of dogs.
So if I'm looking at my dogs and I'm trying to determine is my dog a confident dog or does my dog lack confidence, what are some signs that my dog lacks confidence? What does a dog that lacks confidence look like?
Really like deep question there because human beings don't speak dog and human beings often misinterpret a low confidence dog. Hi, puppy.
Yeah, it's tomato.
So big. Yeah, human beings often mistake low confidence sometimes. So you have your telltale signs of a low confident or an insecure dog. You know, this like the shy, anxious dogs. And these are the ones that you look at and you can go, yeah, that dog is insecure. That dog is kind of shying away, hides behind your legs, is overly placating, like that dog that is like overly pleasing but is like nervous about pleasing. Those are the easy dogs to tell that are low confident. That's the dog that comes in, maybe rolls on their back, is anxious, doesn't want me to take the lead. But that's low confidence that almost is borderline fear. And fear and low confidence are different. The low confidence dog, the insecure dog that fools people, is the dog that's on the end of the leash barking and kind of blowing up when they see another dog. So this is what I call the pufferfish effect, right? That dog is 20 feet away from the other dog and it has the human holding the leash behind them. So that dog goes, I'm gonna blow up as big as I can, right? I'm big and I'm tough. But then that other dog turns around and goes and gets in that dog's business and it immediately deflates. So you have low confidence dogs that mislead you into thinking they're big, tough guys. but they're just being big and tough and trying to be as loud as they possibly can because they're actually incredibly insecure. So I hear people often saying, my dog's really protective. My dog protects me.
Oh, don't get me started.
Right.
Your dog is nervous. He's nervous and scared, and he's getting himself as big, and you're standing behind him. So my dog is like, my person's behind me, got my back. I want to be as big and loud as I possibly. Oh my God, don't look at me, don't poke me. So you have two
That's one
different.
of my biggest pet peeves with people is when people they say so confidently that their dog would protect them in a situation.
Oh yeah.
If you were to say, like, if you're I know it's kind of a ballpark and it's kind of a guess, but if you were gonna give a percentage of dogs that you think would actually protect their owners in a situation.
So it's tricky. It is different because protection is one thing. One of the problems with low confidence dogs, with fearful dogs, is they're far more prone to bite, because a fear bite, if you get bit, in dog training, like, at least with the type of dogs, I don't work with dogs who are so incredibly aggressive. Like, I don't have the space in my facility.
Yeah, right.
If you're working with a dog, the majority of dogs that roll through my doors who I am worried might actually try to bite me, they aren't aggressive. They aren't dominant. They're fearful. And if you have that dog that lunges forward and is going to get you, that's one thing. But most fear biters bite and go back, right? So you can have a dog who looks like, I'm going to mess you up, and is actually a bite risk, but it's coming from that low confidence. It's coming from that insecurity. And fear biting, it is a really big deal. And that's something we have to deal with a lot. In terms of dogs who will actually, like, I mean, there is a decent percentage of dogs who I think would actually defend and would actually get in there. Whether they're actually going to bite somebody, who knows? But I think it's less about the person, and it's more about the dog putting on the persona and taking on the emotion and what they need in that moment. I think it's less likely that if somebody approaches you and your dog gets in front of you and is like, whoa, 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 that they're necessarily mentally going, I'm going to get in front of my human and I'm going to take care of my human, as they're going, I'm really uncomfortable in this situation and I need to let them know how uncomfortable I am in that situation. Now, that's not every dog, but the average pet owner, I think that's, my opinion, more likely the case.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we could probably have a good mix of dogs even in our own house with their behavior, especially on a leash. What do you think you might, well, I don't, you have questions. You have a different question.
I've got a million questions.
Well, just like kind of on that same track, talking about people and what people think is wrong with their own dog, who are obviously not people that have 10 years of background. What do you think is some of the larger mistakes owners make in training or in walking, or what do you see a lot?
A huge so we one of the things we specialize at Creekside is puppy training, and one of the biggest mistakes is starting your dog off too young or too old. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Start training dogs at 12 weeks. Now, obviously, the way you train a 12-week-old puppy is drastically different. Puppy training is a very specific thing. You train puppies a very certain way. But I get people who come to me all the time with 8-month-old dogs who have never even had a concept of any type of training. Maybe they know how to sit. Like, people come into the consult like, my dog knows how to sit and he knows how to do paw. And then it's like, all right, cool, so your dog isn't trained. But
hey, what's up, Danny? I just wanted to, I saw you jump in here. I just wanted to say hi to Danny. Danny Cervantes, thank you for jumping in here. Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. So people start too late. There's a window, and if you can get in early, obviously that doesn't mean the training is over. Training is a lifestyle. We do a program, our puppy kindergarten day training program. What I tell people when they graduate from that, their dogs are usually around 26 weeks old when they graduate from that, is that's kindergarten, right? You got elementary school, middle school, high school. If you're really ambitious, you have college.
Yeah,
but
I like when you have that tiered. It's really a really smart way of doing it, and easy for people to understand, because when you were just saying there's a window, I was just thinking about the window for pre-K, actual children, and, there's a window. So it's the same thing. That young age, the brain is developing.
expect them to be successful. You know, like you don't just chuck them in. There's a reason we have a process. And unfortunately, a lot of dog training starts around 6 to 8 months. Well,
right. When there's already problems, right?
We almost have a teenager at 6 to 8 months.
Now, let's be specific. You said you typically want to start training a dog at 12 weeks. We're talking about obedience specifically, right?
Really, and you don't have to start at 12 weeks. But people
we start right off the bat. As soon as we have the puppies, we start doing the training. There's
a misunderstanding though that training has to be obedience.
Right.
Sit, stay calm. That's not true. Training is your puppy and your puppy's life. So if you at 12 weeks are like, hey, I'm going to put you in a stroller or one of the things, a shopping cart, and we're going to go to Lowe's, and I'm going to let some people pet you, and I'm going to let you hear noises, and I'm going to let you hear sounds, that's training. That's socialization. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to put a collar and I'm going to put a leash on you, I'm going to let you drag it around for a little while, and maybe I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it so that you learn and understand what that is, that's training. If you're okay, well, you're 12 weeks, so now I'm going to go into the house, and I'm going to, when we train our puppies, we do what we call the real world test. And we're like, I'm going to put a stroller out. I'm going to put a scooter out. I'm going to put all these different things. I'm going to turn a fan on and let you like know what a fan sounds like. Social it's not just meeting people and dogs. It's getting used to the world. And yes, absolutely, a 12-week-old puppy can learn how to sit. A 12-week-old puppy can learn how to place. The difference is how you do it. The difference is how you communicate to that puppy. I'm not correcting a 12-week-old puppy, right?
Exactly, yeah.
To a 12-week-old puppy. I am all positive reinforcement. I am all encouragement. I am all confidence building. I'm teaching like how to be a strong dog. I'm teaching how to know what's going on. Somebody is telling me to check your sound.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, if you guys are watching live, give us a little feedback. Let us know how it sounds. How does it look? Is it grainy? Does it sound okay? I know whenever I interrupt, it cuts off your sound, so I try to not interrupt as much as possible.
I also do really fast, so if you need me to stop, just let me know.
Oh, you're good. Doing great.
Down there is, yeah, absolutely. You can start puppies super young. You just have to have an understanding of what puppies are and what puppy training is, and you have to have an understanding of how puppies learn. And that's why at Creekside, we have made very specific puppy programs that are specifically designed for that age bracket. And the way they're designed is they're designed for dogs to start at 12 weeks and roll all the way through until adolescent learning. But you have to set it up. You can't start a 12-week-old puppy the same way you start a 6-month-old puppy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say we do the same thing. We start right off the bat. When we have brand new puppies, the socialization, the desensitization that we do, we actually do, I don't know if you know much about early neurological stimulation and early scent integration. We do that as early as what, like a few days? Yeah. It's like 3 or 4 days old.
I don't do that, but we learned all about that in school, and any responsible breeder is doing that stuff from day one.
Vacuuming around the puppies, having the kids around the puppies. The kids are really good at teaching the puppies their limits, just like the puppies actually playing with other puppies do. They give each other feedback, what's okay, how far can you push them, and the kids do the same thing.
Yeah. I was going to say also to what you were saying about I think the kindergarten class, you said that maybe you have like skateboards or bicycles or obstacle type things, real world training, you said. I was going to say just about, I guess 2 or 3 months ago when I was at the park with Tomato, and so she's about like 9 months old, she got really freaked out by a baby carriage.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, I forget we don't have that in our house anymore. So, of course, she's going to get freaked out when she's like, what is this thing with this tiny human inside? Yeah. Like,
if you go on our website, we have tons of videos, and you're going to see videos from the puppy kindergarten program of us going through all these different distractions. And there's some really funny videos of Scott on the scooter. I'm not allowed to use the scooter because I'm not allowed to get hurt anymore. And to use the scooter, but there's like videos we have them on their place beds and then he's scooting all around, or we have them walking around and he's scooting around. We're not allowed to use the skateboard anymore because we just roll that. We tried to actually skateboard. didn't turn out.
Yes.
We also we have a wheelchair. We have a walker. You know, anything that is foreign to a dog, we try to incorporate that in.
Bags, trash cans, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Cupcake, when she was young, she was pretty freaked out by skateboards.
I skateboard out, and they sneak up behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they make that really loud noise too.
So, okay, so I think Leia started to ask this question. I don't know if I have ADD. Sometimes I miss answers. But when you're dealing with training, what's the most common challenge that you find yourself when you're just
for me to deal with reactivity, or at least what people call leash reactivity. Dogs lunging and pulling and barking, unruly dogs on leash, especially when you live in a downtown environment. But I say what people think is leash reactivity. So there's, in my opinion, again, this is just one person's opinion, you have leash reactive dogs, and you have dogs who are not polite on leash, or dogs who don't know what to do on leash. And I get a lot of clients who roll in and they think they have a leash reactive dog, when in reality they have a dog who doesn't know how to walk on a leash and has rude behaviors. And that's an easy fix. That's all right, cool. I'm going to teach the dog how to heel. And guess what? I'm going to teach the dog to give you attention and a little bit of respect. And that problem is under control.
What's an example of a behavior that you see that is a rude behavior walking on the leash?
Barking at other dogs, pulling at other dogs, lunging at other dogs, wrapping your feet around the leash. A lot of these things can present as to maybe an untrained eye as leash reactivity. And just to clarify, what leash reactivity means is, having unwanted reactive behavior towards something. But the thing about leash reactivity is real leash reactivity can't be turned off. It can't be distracted. So if you're a dog and, my dog's lunging, my dog's pulling, Fido, sit, treat, 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 and Fido redirects his attention, that's not good. You're bribing Fido. That's not what we want to do. But you are able to get him to turn and look at you. That's not a leash reactive dog, right? A leash reactive dog is, okay, he's hit his threshold, and the only thing I can do in this moment is haul ass and get him out of here. That's
threshold. Can you explain what do you mean by threshold? What is a threshold?
So this is where we get into psych, and if anybody's taking a psych 101 class.
This is my favorite part about dog training, by the way.
Yeah. So a threshold, right? It's also, I refer to it as seeing red. So if this is my leash reactive dog, we're walking, anytime in here, the owner can redirect their dog. Anytime in here, the owner can communicate to their dog and be in control and be able to communicate them. When the dog goes past threshold, our ability to redirect our dog away from this, our ability to almost distract our dog and calm our dog down, we've lost that opportunity. So in dog training, we have to either communicate to our dogs before they hit threshold and prevent our dogs from ever even getting past their threshold. Or if we have a dog who is constantly going past threshold, that's when we have to get in there and address that situation and address that in a different way. But if you have a dog who is just I'm barking and I'm rude and I'm going to pull and look at that other dog and try to do all that stuff, and I go, no, don't do that. Don't do that, dude. Come back over here, walk here, listen to me. And he goes, sure. Thank you for communicating to me what I needed to do.
Right, what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Say again.
What the dog, he's saying, thank you for telling me what I should be doing.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to do this. I didn't know that pulling towards that other dog. And I mean, it also comes down, and it's another big thing, to nature. Everyone's nature, nurture. It's all about nurture. It's all about nurture. It's also about nature. There are certain dogs who are going to be more prone when they see another dog to lunge, bark, and pull. It's just a thing. Some dogs are going to do that. That doesn't mean the dog is reactive. It means that the dog has a natural instinct that is causing them to do that. And again, it's up to us to then communicate to them what it is we need. But if you have a dog who goes past threshold and you cannot redirect them back, that's when you get into a more reactive dog. And that circles right back to confidence, because oftentimes it's those dogs who are not aggressive, who are not, you know, any of those things. They're lacking the security and the confidence to behave in those situations.
So is it important to know your dog's thresholds?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it's important to know. You need to know your dog's thresholds. You need to know your dog's boundaries. You need to know your dog's likes. One of the things that we talk about all the time, at least at Creekside, is love language, right? What is your dog's love language? And what I mean by that is, like, you need to figure out what your dog loves, what your dog likes. How does your dog like to respond? How does your dog like to interact with you? And if you can pinpoint those things, then you find those positive ways to interact with your dog. And those are your dog's love language. But you also have to understand the things that are negative to your dog. And then you have to stop and decide, well, is that okay? Like, is my dog telling me right now, hey, dude, like, when I'm out in public, I don't want that person to come up and pet me. Like, I'm really uncomfortable about that. And I say, hey, thank you for telling me appropriately that you're uncomfortable in this situation. I've got your back. I'm going to tell that person to leave you alone. And it's really important for us as humans to decide, okay, well, which discomfort do I have to work through? And which discomfort is it okay for me to accept as a part of who my dog is? One of the issues we run into when dealing with a low confidence dog or a reactive dog is we try to push it. We try to be like, I'm going to work this problem so that my dog can walk right past the other dog. And then what ends up happening is you're just suppressing behaviors. But if I tell my dog, oh, you're anxious about that? Here's the rule. You're not allowed to lunge, pull, bark, growl. You're not allowed to do that. But I hear you. I hear you're anxious about it. And guess what? I'm going to go this way a little bit. I'm going to give
Right. So, like,
yeah.
You got to know your
like
dog.
a mutual respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing your dog is so important.
Yeah. Back to the love languages, if you don't mind. I really liked when we were talking in your office at your training place about how we were talking about love languages and how your dog enjoys like certain types of play or whatever. And I think I was talking about something about Cupcake, like she doesn't want to really bring the dog back, but you know what?
Ball.
She really what did I say? Dog back. Yeah, there's not the dog. She doesn't want to bring the ball back, but you know what? When she turns around and she looks at me, she wants me to chase her.
So
can you talk on that?
Yeah. Oh man, you guys are setting me up for really long diatribes about things.
We love it.
Yeah,
we love it.
So love language, right? Figuring out what your dog loves, figuring out what your dog, what gets them going, what floats their boat. And a lot of that comes down to, again, going back to nature versus nurture. All dogs come with certain relative, instincts, certain things that they really dig. That's good for them. And some they present themselves as negatives. You have things like prey drive. You have the dog that takes the ball and runs away from you, and you're like, come on, dude, I'm just trying to play fetch right now. Or you mentioned, like, yeah, prey drive is a big one. Like, I can't walk my dog because he's lunging after squirrels the whole time. Like, yeah, okay, let's deal with that, because that's not the appropriate moment to do that. When you're on, that's not the appropriate moment. And if you have a ball and I say, bring it here, it's not the appropriate moment to run away. However, your love language is telling me you like to be chased. Your love language is telling me I like to take things in my mouth and go, right? I like little things that So how do we then make sure that dogs get opportunities to express themselves in those fashions? And that's where play comes in. That's where play, there's this, like, it drives me nuts. There's this huge misconception that play isn't training. That play is like, oh, we've done training, now let's play. Or that play is something completely different. When the reality is play and training go hand in hand. And one of my all-time favorite trainers, a mentor of mine, his name is Jay Jack. And he has developed this entire training philosophy that is based around play. And we try to incorporate that into what we do a great deal. And basically, in very brief, because I could do a whole live about this, but it
will totally.
It develops a concept of windows. So it basically teaches your dog, right now, you're in the play window. And as long as you're in the play window, you can chase. I will chase you. As long as you're in the play window, you can take that toy and you can do that and you can tear it up and you can go to town. But guess what? When I say enough, you're in the calm window. Or when I say sit, you're in the work window. And play is done. We have closed the window to play. And that way your dog has a full understanding of what emotion, of what style of life that they are in that moment. So if I have a dog who's like, chase me, chase me, chase me, I'm like, cool, man, play window, gonna chase you, gonna chase you, gonna chase you, enough, sit, oh, okay, we're done chasing, cool, dude, like, tell me what you need me to do. And that's how you get the dog who, like, my dog Harvey, he has an insane prey drive, man. Like, this dog has an insane prey drive. But when I go hiking, Harvey doesn't chase squirrels because Harvey has learned we're in the work window when I go hiking. And that is not the opportunity to go chase squirrels. But if I have his toy or I have the flirt pole and I go, ready? Get it, bam, play window is open and he can tear that toy up and he can go to town on that toy, and we get the flirt pole out and let him express his prey drive in an appropriate way. And then I say, enough, we're going for a walk, work window, and he doesn't chase squirrels anymore. So you're playing ball, play window, fetch, I'm gonna chase you, I'm gonna chase you, I'm gonna chase you, enough, oh, we're not doing that anymore, cool, we're done. And that's how you get the dog who knows how to go, we're playing, we're going nuts, to we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Again, I want to say, if you are watching and you have any questions, because I know people are hearing this and they have their own situations or their own circumstances that they want to ask about, please feel free to type a question in the chat and ask. Because that's what we are here for. We are here to help educate. On the topic of drive, I would love to do like a whole drive series because I don't know how you feel about it, but I've got a passion for it. I love it.
People think drive is a bad thing.
Cool.
And when I dog that rolls in with like an intense drive, I'm just so pumped about it. What's wrong is when the dog doesn't have the appropriate opportunity to express drive. It's wrong. There is definitely drive that has to be curved. If you have a dog with prey drive and it's dangerous, or you're not able to even to manage that life with the dog, it has to be addressed. You have to address that. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean there aren't ways to be like, I hear you, bro. Like, let's do this. Drive is awesome in a dog. I love a dog with drive. And that drive could mean like, you know, hi, person with a Frenchie who has high prey drive. We can help you. Yeah, finding opportunities, it's a dual-edged thing. You have to tell your dog right now, no, this is not appropriate, but hey, buddy, guess what? I'm going to open up that play window and we're going to have an opportunity to deal with it, as long as it's not something dangerous. Yeah.
Right. So I have a question just about that. So, for example, this person who has a Frenchie, they just said they have a prey drive. Let's pretend it's a squirrel or a bird and they want to get to it real quick. And you realize that this is not safe. Walking down my street, you're going to jerk me out of the leash. And then you set up a scenario where you work on this type of prey drive. So it's like fun at home in a secure situation, maybe in your backyard where there's a fence. Yeah. Does that kind of like, do you think in any way, or maybe you have ways to prevent it, but does that stimulate their, like make it more intense when they're on a walk? Or do you do things to prevent? How do you make them know that when you're on the walk, it's not okay here? I mean, that's might be a 30-minute conversation. But.
That's your four-way. I'll do this as like concise as I can, but that's where the J-Jack method of the 4 windows come in. So through the training, first I'm going to say don't do that. Right? First, okay. I do have to lay down a little bit of, depending on the intensity of the prey drive or any drive, any of those things, I do have to make sure my dog does have an understanding of some behaviors you do just have to shut down. There are certain behaviors that your dog might do that does just need to be, you know, I'm sorry, like that's not okay. But if it's a drive situation where it's something that you can harness in another fashion, that's where like those concepts of the four windows really comes in. Because if my dog is living a life of the four windows, my dog is going to understand when I say, ready, get it, and we're in the play window, go for it, man. Like tear that up, go to town on that toy, like have fun. But if I say enough, we're now in a calm window. And my dog learns what enough means, and he knows enough means to take a breath. And if I then put my dog into a heel, my dog is in the work window. There is no room for play in the work window. Work is inevitable. Play is opportunistic. So if my dog is in the work window, you can't go chase after the squirrel because you're in violation of what the work window means.
I love that you say that.
We're like, yeah.
I have conversations with people constantly, and they talk to me about like, oh, my dog pulls like crazy on a walk, and I have that conversation with them constantly. If you want to take your dog on a walk and you don't want them pulling, work them on the walk. Have them understand that we are doing a job right now. Dogs want to do jobs, most of them. You get them working. Yeah, you can say something.
I just wanted to say with that is one thing that I see a lot of problem is with that scenario, and I'm sure you see this too. When people ask us like, how do you get your dogs to walk like that? And sometimes I'll say you speed the walk up, but for us, when we do a walk, it's for a purpose. The purpose is exercise and focusing on us and doing the walk. It's not going to pee over here. It's not smelling over here. It's not going around this. And I feel like people confuse, oh, I got to take my dog on a walk. And so they let him go off here. They let him go off there. And then they're wondering, why is he pulling now?
Yeah, and I think that, like, the thing, too, like, I talk about the windows is that doesn't mean, like, you don't still drill obedience. All you do, all your obedience, you teach your dog how to heel, you teach your dog to place, that all just exists in the work window. And now the thing about the walk is, and I deal with this a lot with clients because, like, I'm a trainer, so I have particular expectations of my dogs, but I get clients who don't have the same expectation. So there are versions of a walk. And depending on the dog, depends on what versions of a walk are okay. So you might have a dog who just a simple loose leash walk, cruising next to you, a little bit of slack in that leash, is totally fine. You can stop, say free, they go sniff, they do whatever. But if you're a client that comes to me and says, yeah, you know, he's walking, and then I give him the free and he's at the end of the leash, and then the next thing I know, he's dragging me after the squirrel, or he sees another dog and he's dragging. Well, guess what? I'm sorry, but your dog can't be in a free walk right now.
Right.
So I describe those types of walks kind of as like an earned privilege. And if your dog doesn't earn the privilege to do that, then that's, you know, a problem. But people often are like, well, I want my dog to have fun on the walk. Well, absolutely you want your dog to have fun on the walk. But for some dogs, the fun of the walk is getting out there and going for a walk. Right. And therefore, they have to learn how to walk nicely. And for some dogs, it's about connection. And my dog, Harvey, he walks right next to me. He looks up at me and he's like, hey, buddy, what's going on? We're going on a walk. This is awesome. And he's connected. Yeah, but he's trained well enough that if I say free, he can go sniff and he can go do what he wants. Then I say heel and he comes right back to the walk. My dog, Hank, he's a knucklehead and he's young. He can't do that yet. If I say free, he's done. He's gone. So I have to keep him in that nice controlled walk in order to have a successful walk. He's also leash reactive. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be like, oh, here's my leash reactive dog. Go walk at the end of the leash. Because then if he has a moment, he's 6 feet away from me. Right. How am I supposed to deal with that?
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So control, boundaries, expectations.
Threshold.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Why don't you ask another question? Man, we have a lot.
Do you do behavior assessments?
Yeah, to an extent. All of our dogs go through a test, like a obviously, so like the process is first we do a consult. All of our consults are free. We sit down, we have a conversation. I meet your dog. We go through a bunch of stuff. And then if it's a dog coming in for any behavioral issues, we then do a temperament test. And that's when, with behavioral issues, I would make the determination if my programs can help that dog and help that owner, or if they need a larger behavior, a more intensive behavior program than we are, based on our situation, capable of offering. So we always run tests. The thing that comes into the play with that, though, the dog you might see in a temperament test is really not always the dog you're going to be working with. Sometimes I don't really know, like, the dog I'm going to be working with, like, what their true persona is until we've done a couple lessons and they get confident and they get comfortable with me. And
Exactly.
yeah, the dog at home can be very different from the dog here. So you have to be careful with things like temperament tests. They definitely, especially like for like resource guarding, is this dog gonna bite my face off? Like things like that.
It's hard to tell when one's sitting, for sure.
Yeah.
You can get a pretty good idea if you're dealing with like a dangerous dog, or if you're dealing with a fear biter, or a resource guarding dog. You can get a pretty good idea about that through a temperament test. But for other things, you really just got to get your hands on the dog and start working.
Right. But so just back to you, because we want to make sure we're promoting exactly what you are offering people, and all this, I mean, wealth of knowledge that you have. I mean, we could sit here and ask you questions for hours. You are totally willing to have a consult with somebody for free.
Yeah.
Take a look at that dog in that session. I don't know, what, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Just to sit down in a conversation, and I go through a lot of questions. For some dogs and for some clients, that's all we need. Come in, we have the conversation. I present them with some options, because we have a wide variety of different training options to fit each individual, and then we figure out which program matches for them. But for some dogs, I need to see the dog in action, and then we're gonna go and I'm gonna watch I'm gonna get my hands on the dog. But we don't take money until we book you for a training program.
I mean, that's great, because sometimes that's a comfort for just like people, just like, okay, I don't want to throw out so much money when this person doesn't really know my dog yet, and I want to be able to ask some questions before I jump into paying a whole bunch of money.
Training isn't about, training the dog. Like, everybody says, oh, you work with dogs all day? That's great. You don't have to work with people. It's like, no, I work with people all day long.
Right.
The relationship between person and trainer is vital. And if, I feel like this is a human who's not going to be receptive to what I'm trying to put out there, then that's not a great combination. Right. But if it's who is not going to be receptive to how I work and to what I do, you have to be working with somebody who, is going to do things the way you want, is going to work. Now, if somebody doesn't have the education about how I work, and I'm able to talk to them and explain to them how I work, and then they're on board, that's great. But the relationship between human and trainer is vital, because it's emotional. Training a dog, especially a dog with behavior issues, is a really emotional thing. I'm not going to go into details, but these dogs come my way, and it's really difficult, because sometimes you have to have that conversation, right? And that conversation, like, this dog is in the wrong home, or you are at no fault of your own. Life changes. Right. Fault of your own. This is no longer a safe environment. This is no longer a good environment. And if you're a dog trainer who can't sit down and have an emotional conversation with somebody and can't empathize with somebody, get out of the business, because you need to be able to feel. Dog training is a personal thing. It's a really personal thing, and people are making the choice to get in there and train their dog, and you need to be able to empathize with them, because it's a lot of decisions that have to be made. Right,
because I mean, you are the dog trainer. We are people who understand dogs, dog behavior, how a dog works. But there's people out there that they want to help, and they adopted this dog from a shelter.
It's
They
a
want to love it, but they bit off more than they could chew.
Also, beware of false information. People who want to give you feedback on training on dogs. A lot of people say a lot of stuff they don't really fully understand. That is very important.
dog training can have a really big price tag on it, and unfortunately, there are too many people out there that simply want the price tag instead of being honest. And this is a thing for all dog trainers. Like,
well, it's kind of like the breeding world too, Sarah. I mean, there's people that just want the money instead of the whole dog.
You have to take the ego out of it too, though.
Yeah.
And also understand, and this is something dog trainers have to learn, but also understand that there might be situations that you aren't the right dog trainer for, and be able to accept those situations. But the other thing is that there's a fine line between empathy and firm. Because you absolutely, as a dog trainer, you have to go both ways, where you're like, oh man, this is a tough situation, I empathize with you, to, yeah, this is a tough situation because you're making it a tough situation. Like, let's fix this situation.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
lot of
so true. That's so true. Very accurate.
Yeah, you have to know you have to know how to talk to people in a way that doesn't belittle them, doesn't make them feel guilty, but also makes it really clear that changes have to be made if you and your dog cohabitate.
Yeah, that's something we run into in our world constantly, not training-wise, but yes, training-wise, but also in the show world. When we bring our dogs to shows and we're getting feedback from judges, some judges aren't that good at giving feedback. Some judges, they don't have that good bedside manner, and that ego does come in and it turns you off of the breed or of showing. And some judges don't give that feedback at all. I think it's very important to have a balance, to be able to have a conversation, have those difficult conversations with people.
Yeah, one of the things that we run into a lot is where firmness but also empathy has to come in, is people get a dog and they have a plan, right? They get a dog and they know exactly what this dog's life is going to be. That's their plan. And guess what, guys? Dogs are sentient beings and they will not follow your plan at all.
Right.
This is where I like to use the phrase of, you have to love the dog you have and not the dog you'd love to have. And as a trainer, it's my job to guide people on that process. And this comes down with a lot of behavioral things. If you have a dog who does not want strangers to approach them, you have a dog who does not want strangers to approach them.
Right.
If you have a dog who does not want to run around and play with a pack of dogs, you have a dog who doesn't want to run around and play with a pack of dogs. Now, if you have a dog who tries to bite the stranger, that's a different story. But we have to understand what our dogs are. And situation that I was in recently, was, oh, we got a puppy. We got a puppy. Awesome, cool. Oh, but we also have a 4-year-old reactive dog, and we don't understand now the 4-year-old reactive dog is going after the puppy. Well, yeah. Right? Like, so you shouldn't have a puppy kind of situation. But they do. So how do we work that? But like, we get a lot of times where we have to take a firm stance, and we have to make it really clear to people, this is the life, this is what it means. I have to advocate for the dog. And if you do that correctly, you do get the person who over a period of time gets on board that, oh, my dog is a dog who can't just cruise around on a free leash and meet other dogs because my dog is reactive. And my life with my dog does mean that my dog is going to walk right next to me and I'm going to be fully connected, and we're not going to go play with other dogs and that sort of thing. And we have to really coach people on what that means. And like I said, we work with puppies all the time, and I don't think people don't really know what they're getting into when they get a 3-month-old puppy or a 4-month-old puppy. And I get people that come to me that are so frustrated, and they are so fed up with this puppy, and I have to sit them down and be like, it's a puppy, like, let's go through this, let's understand this. Or they have a dog with behavioral issues, they have a dog having the conversation of, this is just not who your dog is, but let me help, is really important. And it's so important that dog trainers are able to communicate, empathize, and also put down a firm stance all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, some breeds are way more intense as puppies than other breeds. I mean,
Some breeds are
Golden Doodle, Labradoodle come to mind as, you know, a very hyper difficult puppy. Smart, but difficult for some people to kind of bring it down. You know, and people get this puppy like, oh, the coat, the anti-allergy,
coat.
you know, and then they're not ready for the intensity, hypoallergenic, the intensity of the dog itself.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too where, you know, you hear a lot of people say, oh, it's how you raise them. It's how you raise them. It's not breed. And I'm like, well, yeah, how you raise them is vital. How you raise them is so important, but breed is important too. And
you got to know the purpose. What was the original purpose for that breed? Know what you have.
And you have to, you know the dog. An example, and I'm comfortable using this example because they're awesome people. I've been working with some amazing group of two people who got a Shiba Inu as a puppy. And they got him because he looked like a cute little fox.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, he is something else. He's a Shiba Inu, right?
Yeah.
Something else.
Well, remember, Stephen and I were dog groomers for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
dealt with them a lot.
Yeah. So even in the grooming scenario, I mean,
yeah,
you learn a lot about dogs.
He bit the groomer multiple times. So, but guess what? They put in the work.
Yeah.
They got training with me at gosh, how old was he? They got him in the puppy kindergarten program. So they got him in training with me at like 4 months. And seeing the transitions of this dog, because at 4 months he's like, I am a cute little fox. Look at me. And 6 months and he's like
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Try to cut my nails? No. You're gonna tell me I have to do this? No. But I've been committed to the process and he's doing so much better and he's doing great. But we were able to help them understand nature. This is what a Shiba Inu is. Now, how do you take nature and nurture and smash them together? You have to understand the breed. You have to understand what comes with the breed. And then you also have to remember that it sometimes just doesn't matter. Brain chemistry is brain chemistry.
Yeah.
You know,
or if it's a rescue.
Yeah. You can get a purebred golden retriever with AKC papers, and he comes in the most reactive, aggressive dog out there. Brain chemistry is brain chemistry. So you have to really be able to stop and it's like the triangle, right? Nurture, chemistry, and nature. And if you can look at things, that's like a clover. If you can look at things as a triangle of those things, then you can really start to get a full understanding of who your dog is.
Yeah. I just want to say it's very important. We have a lot of fellow breeders who might watch this. And I think that's very important to take into consideration. A lot of people jump to, well, it's how the dog was raised. That's why you have a dog that's aggressive. If you breed a dog that's known to be a reactive dog to another dog that's known to be a reactive dog, and you look in their pedigree, and back in their pedigree there's a reactive dogs, you're most likely going to get reactive dogs no matter how much training you put into it. There are dogs that you're going to get that, so you really have to take that into consideration when you are thinking about pairings of which dog to breed your dog to.
You know, there are dogs out there that have been overbred and or are being pumped out because they're so popular. And you know, Frenchies. Somebody was talking about a Frenchie, like the groomer I work with. Yo, Serendipity, holler at ya. Breeds Frenchies, or did, and she breeds the most beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous Frenchies I've ever seen. But I can't tell you how many Frenchies in Boston's come to me, and I'm like, yep, you were not bred well. And it's bad because it's health issues. These dogs have health issues. They have temperament issues. And this is with all dogs. Like, there's so many breeds out there that, like, you look back at them 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, and they were so different.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like the whole aspect.
That's what we're running into with our breed.
Yeah.
And it's so young, and it's such a shame because I'm going to talk about American Bullies real quick. American Bully, this is not
this, although this is very difficult breed sometimes as well.
American Bully is the renaissance man of dogs. It's a dog that can literally do anything that you want it to do. It's the dog that can do anything as long as it's bred correctly. And there are people that are not thinking about what they are putting together just because they want to make a buck, and it's ruining the breed, and it's an absolute shame. And there are breeds, like you said, that 100 years ago are not the same now as what they are today. Our breed was only around since the 90s.
Yeah.
So even now today, it's not what it used to be. So that's so important. It's really, really important. If you love this breed, if you love these dogs, please make sure you're making the right choices.
Yeah. And then it also goes into like placement of where dogs are placed is so important. Unfortunately, I get a lot of situations where I don't even, like, you get in there and I'm just like, well, this dog is just in the wrong home. And I understand it, reps need to get dogs, like, they need to get dogs out there. Where it drives me nuts, and I'm sure you guys know this, is when it comes from a breeder. Like, when it comes from a breeder, I'm like, why is this dog here? I run into this a lot with shepherds, not necessarily from breeders, but with rescues. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge of it to really go into it too much, but shepherds have gotten a little crazy. They've always been like, there's always been anxiety, but a properly bred shepherd is I don't think that is necessarily the case. I don't know, but I get all these shepherds and they're just so high strung and they're so tense. And they have so many, like, mental anxieties and anxiousness. And, these shepherds who are placed in these homes, like, I had a shepherd placed, this young 3-year-old shepherd with tons of anxiety, placed in a home with, 2 70-year-olds. Wonderful.
You were gonna say, or I thought you were going to say kids.
Well, we have that too. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's such a large dog. And yeah. Yeah, when we were groomers, shepherds, that is a difficult
German
dog.
Shepherds, Cocker Spaniels, and soft-coated Wheaten Terriers with a 3 top. Soft-coated Wheaten Terriers. I don't care. You could quote me on that. They were the Westies.
When they come your way, like, there's certain things where you get a hot button word, but like somebody comes in like Sheba, I'm like, that dog's gonna be a pain in the ass, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in and they a 2-year-old German Shepherd, never done any training, and I'm like, all right, brace yourself, here comes crazy. And it's too bad because they're amazing dogs, and then I get that Frenchie rolls in that can't breathe, that can barely move. It's just
American Bully that comes in that can't breathe and can't move.
It's the whole situation there.
And, do your research, folks. Before you get your dog, do your research. Know what's coming through those doors. If you're going to get a purebred from a breeder, do your research so that you get the right thing.
Yeah. This was fun.
Yeah.
This was fun. I'm looking forward to doing this weekly. This is going to be cool. I don't want to push this beyond what we need to. I want to do like a whole
series.
I want to do a drive series with you.
Yeah.
I want to get your input on the different drives and different levels of drive, and maybe pull in other people to get other opinions if you want. But this was awesome. We really enjoyed this conversation. I think there's some really good, useful information. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like forever about the play stuff and all that stuff. You can talk dog training for days.
So if go ahead and give us the rundown of the services that you offer, how to get in contact with you.
Yeah.
And we're doing this again on Thursday at 8 o'clock.
Thursdays at 8 o'clock.
So please, everybody who's on here or who's watching it tomorrow, because they didn't get a chance tonight live, please join us again next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We would love to have your questions. And I mean, obviously you see here, Sarah's best of the biz right here.
Okay, services, right. So you can reach Creekside. Best way to reach us, jump on our website, creeksidek9training.com. You're going to see a direct contact form right there. It goes right to me. I get every single one of those. You can schedule your free consult directly on the website. You don't even have to reach out. You schedule it, you pick your time, you'll come in and you'll deal with me directly. The programming that we offer, we try to offer all different programs for all different prices. We know there's a budget out there for folks. So we offer standard group classes. We have 101, 102, 103, and then our Tricks for Treats, like just a fun class. So we offer our 6-week group classes. They run back to back. I offer private one-on-one coaching. And then our big program is we did board and trains for a long period of time. And then we moved into a new facility and the landlord was like, I'm going to charge you a whole lot more money to have dogs overnight. And we panicked. But then we came up with a whole new thing. So we run the Canine University. And we have our puppy kindergarten program. This is a day training program. Where are you located? We're in Frederick, Maryland, on Prospect Boulevard. And so the puppy kindergarten program and the Canine University are our day training programs. The dogs come with us during the day, and we start dogs in puppy kindergarten. We start at 16 weeks, and then the university is any age. It just goes through it. And this is obedience intensive. So we have a behavior program, an obedience intensive, and then we have the fun and games, training through play, which I'll do a whole live about.
Yeah, we're gonna come out to the facility, do some videos and talk about that kind of stuff too at some point.
I think that's really interesting for people to really. I really feel like you hit the nail on the head with the love language. You have to figure out what your dog likes as a reward and be able to use that to the best of your ability as a human to make the dog do what you want to do. No, go ahead.
I think I want to just quickly say about the day training. People often are like, oh, but don't I need to be there with my dog? And the reason we like day training is there's a lot of nitty gritty that has to happen. And it allows us to do the nitty gritty, lay down a real good foundation, and then bring you in. But the way we do our training programs, instead of it being like an information dump at the end, you're along for the ride. All of our day training programs come with private lessons that we pepper throughout the program. And we have a complete set of dog training videos that I have made with my staff, with Paul and with Scott. And you get access for the rest of your duration to these training videos that are given to you throughout the process of your day training program. So you'll have homework. You'll be working along with the program with access to the videos, progress reports at the end of each day, as well as private training attached to those programs. So the purpose of the day training programs, let us do the nitty gritty. Let's get that dog trained, but let's allow you to follow along and work with us as you go, instead of us taking your dog for 4 weeks and then giving you all that information when you come back. So we're having a lot of people love our day training programs. They're awesome. We love them.
I mean, the day training is excellent because I know a lot of people who have put their dog into a full board and train, and then they get their dog back at the end of the 2 weeks, and it's like you said before, kind of like a brain dump of information, like, what do I do now? And my dog, but you're kind of there along the way. And also, I think a lot of people are kind of not ready to let go of their dog for that long, and then the dog kind of is confused.
For some people, guys, a board and train is the right choice. Not knocking board and trains at all. Some board and train is the absolute right choice. If you don't have time, if you're just like, guys, I don't have time for this. And there are some cases where they will come to me and I will say, here's a referral. You need to go to this board and train. There are certain behavior cases. There's certain things that removing them from the home and doing that training. It's a great option. It's really important for that to be an option for people. For us, we run these day training programs for the dogs that's appropriate for the people that it's appropriate for. And we're having a lot of success with it by, combining it. It's a hybrid program, right? You get private videos and we train your dog.
Exactly. And just like Hella's Bullies just said, hey guys, how's it going? It's about consistency. The trainer does this during the day. You take the dog home, you do the same kind of things at night.
front work to training. Like, all right, I guess we're going to do this 40 times today. Like, and if you can just say, hey, trainer, can you do the 40 times? And then tell me, you know, what my homework is. I mean, training is all about consistency. Training is all about repetition, and training is a lifestyle. So let us do some of that repetition. And then if you're consistent with what we do, you're going to be able to transition that into a lifestyle. When you commit to a lifestyle of training with your dog, you're going to have the most amazing experience and relationship with your dog.
Make the perfect dog.
Right.
Is that training
Exactly.
and consistency.
Exactly.
That's how you get that dog that you never forget, that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If you guys want to contact Sarah, it's pinned at the bottom, creeksidek9.com. I hope I got that right. Double check.
Creeksidek9.com.
Creeksidek9.com.
Yep.
Okay, good.
It's about enjoying life with your dog.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. I mean, we love our dogs. You know, you got to take that time to give. Yeah.
If you're a pet person dog trainer, because that's what I am. I'm not a protection trainer. I'm not a sport trainer. I'm a pet person dog trainer. The purpose of your job is to allow the human and the dog to have the happiest life together. It's my slogan, right? You know, happy, healthy life together. And happiness and healthiness go hand in hand. Hey, Cupcake. So if I can help a person develop a happy, healthy life with their dog, which means the dog gets to stay in the home and have a great time. That's the
What are you doing?
my dogs. Got to see my dogs. What do you guys?
What if it's your pups out too? Yeah.
I'm afraid. I'm literally afraid if I touch the phone. This was my first live, everybody. I've never done this before. I'm terrified if I touch the phone, I'm gonna do something. So we'll show my dog next time. If you go on, see tons of pictures of my dogs.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, while we have Cupcake up here, I was just gonna say the Cupcake is gonna have a litter this winter. She doesn't want to look at the camera. She's gonna have. We're planning a litter with Champion on site, and I was going to say that if you are local, we are always looking for local people to have our puppies, local people in our neighborhood. And we are working with Sarah. And if you would like not only a gorgeous dog like this or her boyfriend on site, we're going to be offering a discount on the puppy purchase if you sign up for the puppy kindergarten, right? Is it kindergarten or pre-K? Now I'm getting confused.
Likewise on that, guys, programming past puppy kindergarten and other things, we will be offering a discount for our heart and soul bully babies that come to continue to work with us.
Okay. Let me show Voodoo real quick.
Voodoo, actually, I think okay. So Leia's going to go get Voodoo. Voodoo's also, we're planning on having we're hoping, Lord willing, having a litter of puppies with Voodoo and another Grand Champion Primo Lines dually. And I want to, when we talk about drive, I want to talk about the different drives of each of our dogs.
Oh, yeah.
They're so different. And here
Voodoo weighs 85 pounds. If you see me sweating,
I should be the one doing this.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
So this is Voodoo. This is Voodoo. So we have two very different drives between Voodoo and Cupcake that you just saw.
Yeah.
That's all. We just wanted to throw these puppies up there.
We just want to throw the dogs out there and talk about the puppies and how we really appreciate training, and we appreciate Sarah's training, and we're willing to offer a discount on training and puppies so that we have good dogs all around.
Creekside, we promote both responsible breeding and responsible adopting. Both ends of the spectrum are very, very important. So, supporting both ends. If good responsible breeding as well as good responsible adopting.
Yeah, I want to be very clear. We also support adopting too. Don't misunderstand. Just because we do breed American bullies, there is a place for adopted dogs. We have, oh man, Leia's gonna make me cry on a live. The very best dog I've ever owned was a dog that I adopted. His name was Riri. I named him before I became a special ed teacher, but his name was Riri, and he was the best man at my wedding, if you can't tell. And he was adopted, and I had to basically wrestle him away from another person who was trying to adopt him. But we fully support adopting dogs. And I understand there's a place for getting an adopted dog, for adopting a dog, and there's a place for getting a dog, as long as it is a good breeder.
Some breeds breed them correctly. That's the better. Yeah, whole other conversation there. Yeah,
we'll have that conversation too one day.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome, Sarah. Thank you for coming on here with us. We look forward to doing more of these. This was great. I look forward to more of this. This is awesome.
Awesome, guys. Thanks, everybody. I don't know how to get off of this. So.
Okay.
That's okay.
We'll end it and we'll just boot you.
Yeah. So when it goes off, Sarah, it'll say, do you want to post it? You're going to want to say yeah.
No, I won't say that.
Oh, it won't say that?
We'll send it to you, though, if you want to post it. Don't worry.
All right. We will see you next Thursday. Everybody, thank you for joining this live. We totally appreciate it. And we'll see you next Thursday at 8.
See you guys Thursday at 8. Bye.